Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Sincere Seek, where we sincerely see God through song in the middle of it all. We are trying now quite a few new things on tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight's topic is Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Tonight's topic is Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. Listen, I have a super special guest that will be joining us tonight, and I'm just super excited about what God is doing in their lives. And so I definitely want to give some context before I bring them on to share. But yes, tonight's topic is Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Take this time and share this with someone who needs to be encouraged. There's a lot going on in our world, a lot going on in people's lives, and a lot that people are working through and walking through. So please take this time to share this with someone. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to The Sincere Seek on YouTube. Listen, we had a little issue tonight on Facebook. Listen, if you're watching on Facebook, you want the full experience, head on over to YouTube, The Sincere Seek. Be sure to turn on your notifications as well. And also follow us. We are on Instagram. We're going to get it together on Instagram, okay? But follow us at _sincere_seek. If you're on Facebook, sorry, we just, join us on YouTube for the full experience. We have a very special guest tonight, and I'm super excited. Take this moment, tag somebody, DM them, text them, say, hey, you need to get on. There's about to be a crazy story that's going to be shared. It's going to bless you so much. Tonight's topic is Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And as I was preparing, literally just a few minutes ago, God brought up Moses to me. And I was thinking, Lord, whose story in the Bible can we refer to for tonight's Sincere Seek? And literally, he brought up Moses, okay? He brought up Moses. Moses went through so much early on in life. You'll find this story in Exodus where the children of Israel were in slavery. And the Pharaoh was so afraid that the children of Israel were becoming great in number that he's like, hold up, fam. Listen, tell the midwives, the girls can live, but any boys, we're going to have to cut off their lives. But the midwives, the scripture says in Exodus, the first chapter, 17, it says, but because the midwives feared God, they refused to obey the king's orders. They allowed the boys to live too. And one of those boys was Moses. Moses had a specific purpose in life. And we've been talking about purpose these past few weeks. And tonight we're talking about, well, what do you do? How do you press into purpose when you are faced with so much opposition, when you are faced with so much adversity, when it seems like everything and everyone is against you? How do you keep on going, knowing that God gave you a dream, knowing that God put something in your heart, knowing that God said, you know what, this is your divine assignment, but you're like, but Lord, I'm going through so much. Lord, so much is coming against me. Listen, from the time of Moses' birth, there was an assignment from the enemy to cancel him out, to get rid of him, but God wouldn't let it be so. And I don't know who is watching, and that's your story as well. As since your birth, since your conception, the enemy was like, I don't even want them to come through the womb, but God has a plan and a purpose for you. He said, I want you to live for a reason, for a purpose, for an assignment. You have people assigned to your life. And even as we go on, Moses had to be separated from his family for a specific point in his life. And I don't know for you what that might have been like, being separated from your family, maybe physically, maybe emotionally, at some point in your life. But here's what I do know. God was with you all along. And God said, you know what? I'm not done with you yet. And even when we consider the story of Joseph being separated from his family for a moment in time, and then we come to the point when God faces Moses, he calls him. It's like, fam, I'm going to need you to go back to Egypt to free my people from slavery. And Moses is like, who? You don't know me. Not campaign. Because Moses was dealing with his own insecurities. My God. Sometimes we can be our own opposition. That's a whole nother story. Sometimes we can be our own opposition. We talk about everybody else, but sometimes we can be our own opposition, preventing our own selves from walking in what God has called us to do. Then Moses, God's like, cool. You have this issue here. You don't think you can speak well, fine. I'm going to solve that problem for you. I'm going to send your brother. He going to help you with this assignment. Listen, I don't know who God has assigned to you to help you fulfill your assignment, but thank God for them. All right. Then Moses finally gets to Egypt to do what God said to do, which was to face Pharaoh and say, Pharaoh, God said, let my people go so they may go and worship me. Then Pharaoh going to be like, nah, fam, we not having it. Like, what? So God, I done went through all of this. You told me to go to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's like, no. What? How many of you give up at the first no? How many of you say, you know what, I'm done with this. I done tried it. You give up so easily, but I believe tonight God wants to encourage us not to give up so easily. Not to give up at the first sign of opposition, not to give up at the first sign of adversity, not to give up as soon as we feel as though, oh my goodness, this is harder than I thought. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to invest more time than I thought. Because let me tell you something, in that he is developing your character, in that he is making you more like him, in that he is allowing you to mentor other people, to point other people to Christ. Because let me tell you something, more people are looking up to you than you think. More people are looking for how you move than you think. And this is why I believe that God put it on my heart to bring on our very special guest tonight. Listen, I'm telling you, you want to hear what this person has to say. God is using them tremendously. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my cousin, Mr. Kevin Carr. How's it going, cousin?
Going good. How y'all doing? How y'all doing out there today?
Good tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, and listen, he let me know right before this. There are some distractions that came up trying to throw him off, but dude said, "Listen, I know how it works in spirit realm. See, distractions come, and you see, this is how I know he has a story, a word of encouragement for us tonight. So, fam, let us know about you. Who is Mr. Kevin Carr?"
Well, I'm Kevin Carr. Was born and raised in Greenville, North Carolina. You know, I'm a God fearing man first and foremost. And
yes, sir.
You know, I like the introduction when you said Moses and adversities and things like that. You know, I always wonder why in life did I have to go so much at an early age? Why me? Why was I chosen? You know, and sometimes you have to reflect. A lot of people can't understand the adversity. A lot of people don't understand the first no. But I always understood that my no's was yes. Like I always knew, like out of 10 people, I was gonna hit 9 no's.
Woo!
But it was always gonna be that 10th person that was gonna say yes. I always knew that.
So you just was full of
the
faith.
9 never believed. The 9 never believed. The 9 never believed. The first 9 never believed. It's always that 10th, and that's the God in it, because I call it opportunity. You get that opportunity because you hear so many no's, you get discouraged. I hear so many no's, I get happy because I know that yes, when that yes come, I get to show out. So
that's a whole other level.
And disappoint the 9.
Listen, fam, you brought up. I love that. That's a gift to think on that level. And you mentioned how you questioned at first, like, God, why me? Why do I have to go through so much early on in life? So tell us a little bit more about some of those things that you had to overcome early in life to get to the point where you are now.
First and foremost, I had to go through a lot of disappointment. My life is abnormal. It's not the normal life is a mom and a dad, and you get to stay with your siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't raised with my mom nor my dad. I got siblings that's by my mom. I never stayed with,
Mm. Wow. So
and I have
how did
siblings
that
with my
affect you?
dad. By the way, it affects you. It affects you in a major way because you always wonder what is the Cosby family like. That's not my life. That's
Mm.
not realistic to me.
Wow.
I don't know that feeling of staying with my sisters, being my mama only son, being the oldest. That my like just reflect with me for a second. Being the oldest
Yeah.
child,
Oldest.
seeing your mama seeing your mama go through addiction,
Mm.
starting to understand the power of addiction. Then
Mm.
see, I got to slow it down because if I go too fast, I'm gonna lose you. So I'm gonna just stay within that phrase right there because you got me tonight, and I want to share it with you so y'all can understand
Please.
what God has given me. And I know I have the gift. I know I can speak. I have overcame my fear of public speaking in
God.
federal penitentiary, which I felt like it was like a college for me. Everything, all my adversities, I try to flip it into a positive. So
Yes.
I turn all my negatives into a positive. And
Yes. Okay. Come on.
and and and, and and it's not an easy thing. So let's go back to my childhood of being abnormal. Seeing your mama walk the streets in flip flops and knowing that you got sisters out there, but you never stayed with them, that'll tear you down emotionally,
Mm.
physically, mentally. Um, always having that ambition. You know what? I'm gonna make sure I got someone for my mom and my sister to stay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, understanding that your mom was the reason that you got taken away. Um, my mom, and it's crazy because you said something about Joseph
Yeah.
being sold into slavery. It's like I was sold into slavery in the sense I was sold into the system. What is the system? I was sold into the Department of Social Service. Um,
Wow.
my mom decided one day that she couldn't get no drugs, so from my understanding of the story, that she went to social service, said that my mama, that her, my grandma, or my aunt could not take care of me because they all was doing the same thing. And the only person that could take care of me would be my granddad, which is who I stayed with, which you
Yeah.
always see me with all my life.
Yeah.
The reason why you always see me with my granddad is because my granddad had ended up coming to court and getting custody of me. My
Wow.
mama had made it so terrible that nobody in the family could touch me from the Department of Social Service, only but my granddad. So had he not decided to change his life and give his life to God the way that we were raised, the
Yeah.
way that we know our upbringing,
Yeah.
had he had not listened to that voice, whatever told him to change his life, I would have been lost in the system.
Jesus, thank you, God. You see that, and this is how I know it's God, because I was not thinking about talking about Moses tonight, but I'm literally like 15 minutes before we went live, God brought up Moses because that was a system too, set up to destroy Moses's lives and I'm glad that you brought that up. How you were an overcomer of the system. I don't know how many people they have similar stories of going through and walking through a family member battling addiction, and then just the instability that creates for you, and how now just to see you as a family man taking care of your kids, taking care of your it's nothing but the goodness and the grace and the mercy of God, fam. Like, tell us, like, how did you get through that and not allow all that we went through to make you look at life in a way that would keep you from doing all you're doing now?
Well, first of all, being born and raised in a church that had a lot to do with it. Being
Mm,
born and raised by a believer that got a lot to do with it. I have respect for all religions, you know, because I all know that we serve one God. No matter who you are, what you are, that is, we all serve that one God. But by the way, I'm a Christian. I believe in the Lord Jesus. So, you know,
yes.
just seeing my grandma them worship and pray, and you know, that's I learned that that's the most intimate, direct phone call that you ever gonna have in life, talking to God.
Wow.
That's what I do know for a fact. You
Yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? Because I don't put that to the test too many times to come out on top to know this facts. So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna sit here and tell you guys anything that's fictitious, false to get views or whatever, just to hype it up. Nah, I'm gonna give you the facts because I am a God fearing man, and I know He put it in me to tell the truth. So, you know what I mean? Let's get it going because I can
Yes,
go all day with it because it's
sir.
my life. But back to the
Ooh.
topic at hand though, like it's like your mind frame. I just told you go back to the one that said abnormal. By things
Mhm.
being so abnormal in my life, I've been able to channel to channel my vision and my thinking to something else. So I go
Mhm.
to my happy place. So as a kid, football was my happy place.
Mhm.
That was the place where I had a chance to let go all the anger, and it was fun,
Mhm.
and I got away with it, and I gotta, you know, and football football and sports is my let's say that's my leisure time, that's my pastime, that's my getaway,
Mhm.
that's my from everything.
Right.
And as I was getting away from it, I started loving and I understand, you know, and it had to take baby steps because I had anger problem. I had you know I used to get mad quick like about everything.
Yeah.
And
Moses had a
I
rep for
I
that too.
have I slowly transitioned it into something else. So in practice, we would
Mhm.
have to do extra stuff. Like he'll blow like you tired after running 15 laps. So you hear the whistle blow again, they talking about you got to do 16. So you think it's over with and it's 17. Then you know as it get to the end, a weak person quits.
So
Have you ever got beside have you
training.
ever
Yeah.
got beside somebody and say, you know what? And they were like, you know what? I ain't feeling this, man. I'm about to quit.
Mm.
When I instantly hear that something in me, because I always had small frame, never had weight like that. So
Mhm.
the only way I'm gonna get in versus this man that's standing beside me complaining because he got the size, he got the
Yep.
weight, he got everything talent. He just gifted. He got gifted. He just lazy. So I gotta turn that.
Mm.
I gotta use my ambition, my tenacity,
That's
my
powerful.
everything in me, and I got to dig deeper than him because he got me really by
That's
appearance. He got
powerful.
me. He got me. So when
That's
he's sitting there
powerful.
complaining, I'm gonna leave him. I'm about to run. I hear the whistle. I'm gonna something in me gonna dig deeper than him, and I'm gonna dig
That's
deeper than him
powerful.
every time because I know for a fact that he might got his mom and dad at home. He might see his sisters.
Mm.
I don't
Ooh.
see that. I don't go home to that.
Ooh.
So I
That's
got to go harder.
powerful. Yeah, so you're basically like, okay, this person is complaining about one specific thing. And you realize, maybe I don't have this, this, and this, but I'm gonna use what I do have. That's a word. I'm gonna use what I do have. So the reason why you can't stop, you won't stop is because even though you may not have what this person has, God has given you specific gifts, talents, abilities to still fulfill your God-given purpose. And so he used football as another way, as like training you in terms of that
Yes.
endurance, that perseverance, and then the conditioning as well. And so then what happened, what transition in between like your school years into where you are now?
I was always fascinated by drug dealers because I came from the
Mm.
hood,
Yeah.
and like it say, look at it say, can't stop, won't stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mentality that you have, and hustling is just a terminology that I grew up on because I'm hood. But the
Mm.
terminology that we should be saying is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. So
You
if
and your
I'm talking
message.
to somebody, if I'm talking to somebody that have good terminology that I know that can hold an intelligent conversation like yourself, I would say, hey, my name is Kevin Carr. I'm an entrepreneur and I do this and this and this. But to get my people to relate from where I come from, I say, look, we about to go hustle. We about to go put this, we about to go put this paint on the wall. We about to go wash this
Mm.
car. We about to make a couple of dollars. But I
Mm-hmm.
can't go into a corporate setting talking like that. I know that
Mm.
because you got to have proper etiquette. You got to have your look.
You
You got to
close
have
with.
everything. So I understand that. I understand that it's a time and place for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like practice. How you practice, how you gonna perform and play.
Mm.
If you practice hard and you go hard, and I always I have a thing where people say I have something against people who say, oh, you think you better than somebody, you think you better than this person. Well,
If they
well,
only knew.
listen to this. If I go on the court, because I was referred to LeBron James as a metaphor, you get what I'm saying? I can't play basketball worth for nothing. That ain't me. Basketball ain't me. That ain't my thing. So why can I not say that LeBron James is better than me at basketball? That's what God gave him. That's his gift. I would
Yo.
hands down get LeBron. And I'm a Kevin Durant fan, but I use that because I know a lot of people love LeBron. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not better than him. So why would I sit here and say that I'm better than him at something that he trained? He told himself he was going to be good. He told himself he was going to be better than everybody. And that's the mentality I like as an athlete. I always tell myself I'm going to be better than somebody. I'm going to be better than this. And what I'm doing, I'm always correcting my mistakes. So I cannot
Mm.
worry about what he's doing because I know one thing about LeBron, he's going to train.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin need to train. Kevin need to train. Kevin need to read. Kevin need to know what's going on. I need to know how to adapt. I need to know how to go live. I need to know how what's because I come from a trap. We don't like phones.
Mm.
We secrecy.
Yo.
We don't do this. We don't do this.
Yo, now you getting in there. You talk about that personal development. When God calls you to do something, how you do the work, right? Because faith without works is dead.
Right.
So yeah, God can give you the
Right.
game plan, God can give you the vision, God can give you the assignment, but God's gonna be like, okay, run the play now. Because he's
You
not
got to
gonna
run the play. It ain't you can't. You got to run the play.
you gotta run the play.
You got to always understand he the head coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Always understand that. I'm the quarterback though. I call plays. So I got to listen to him. I got to hear him. I got to hear what he tell me to do.
And you talked about prayer. Yeah, you talked about prayer.
That's that direct line.
Yes, sir.
Man, my back been against the wall too many times, man. Like I've been faced with a lot of things, man. I don't seen guns on my face. I done been shot. I done seen all types.
I didn't get shot.
Yeah, man, I got shot, man.
I got
shot.
That.
90 days after my granddad passed. My granddad passed 10/9/2005. I got shot January 24th, 2006. My first child was born May the 11th, 2006. So
I did not know you were shot, fam.
I know it's a lot of people like out there that got shot one time and died and all that stuff like that. I know I'm blessed though because same thing here. That wasn't the only incident. I was in another shootout. I got hit by the police car. That was the last one. That was the last scenario that I kind of went through that like it was more life changing than anything because that night I was actually trying to kill somebody to be technical, I can be very transparent about that. Like because
story with Moses.
That was a life changing event for me. As I'm trying to kill, I got hit by the police car And I just wake up, and as I look up, it's like hundreds. I swear, literally, it's a lot of cops standing over top of me. Like, man, I swear about 20 cops. And they say, "Are you all right?" So by me being intoxicated, I jumped up like, "I'm okay," and just me being who I am, I'm a talker, so I thought I could talk my way out of this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And let them know I'm fine or whatever the case may be. So to make a long story short, they ended up locking me up. And I thought I was gonna talk my way out of it, but I didn't. But all of that was part of the plan. A few within that year, and this year was 2010, and within the same time, and listen to this, I got shot in January of 2006. Right? Guess when this happened? January 24th, 2010. The same identical month. Something about January. So as I'm incarcerated and stuff, waiting to come home, I just feel this change in me.
That's it.
I wasn't really feeling the obligation of the street code no more. I didn't feel like hustling like that no more. Because I was in a life. I like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it to the fullest. I'm trying to get to the top. I was the type, like, I was so heavy in the streets that I wanted to be in the cartel.
Wow.
That's how heavy in the streets I was. Like,
yeah.
Because if you in that life, that's the top of the game. It's just like the corporate life. You can't get no bigger than the corporate life. I like big business. I understand what it's gonna take to run it and function and facilitate people, places, and things that take money. So God had a bigger plan for me. So when I went federal, I was talking to one of my guys, and he was telling me that I wasn't a felony on the federal level. So it's just something about my intuition and my spirit. It just listened. I was listening. I was in tune, like. So when I saw my lawyer, and my lawyer was like, you know what, we can take this to trial and all that. I said, look, I ain't no felony on the federal level. It's like the room called a silence. So now he's telling me, well, all right, that's fine. We can go to trial, but what your brother and them got to do with it? What's their involvement? So I sit back in the chair. I'm like, I don't. That's too risky to talk about. Like what somebody. Now you putting your life in somebody else's hands because they asking you questions and you the only one that got indicted. You the only one sitting in there. Why I got to talk about somebody else? Because if I like involve these guys, that means like somebody got to tell the whole story, and I really ain't got too much to talk about. I don't know what he's gonna have to talk about, so I'm gonna just say I did everything. We're gonna leave it at that. Can we leave it at that? And in my spirit, I feel like I was gonna beat that charge. In my spirit, I knew I was gonna beat that charge. It was a matter of time. It was like when God called you, let's get back to that. When God called you and you run and you run and you run, sometimes you can't run. I'm in the federal courtroom, I can't run. I'm in the federal courtroom, I can't run.
Talk about it.
I can't go nowhere. I'm gone. Like we said, isolation. We talking about in order to do what God has for you, you got to be isolated. You got to hear. You got to know the play. You got to know the playbook. So when we come out to play, you got to know everything that I'm about to tell you to set forth and do. See, I'm a soldier for the Lord. I know God know good and evil. I know He on the day of judgment He gonna let loose evil. I already know this. So I'm a soldier for Him. So I had to transition because I always been His child. See, when your mother and your father neglect you, you automatically become a child of God.
When my mother and father forsake me, the Lord will. That's the Bible.
Yep.
Keep going. Mm.
There you go. Quote me, man. Quote me right, because I know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
So I
that's Bible.
automatically knew that I had when I was giving up, the way that I was giving up, the way that how I was pushing to the system, I knew and understood that from that point, from that day forward, when they signed the papers or whenever, it's way before they signed the paper. It's a thought. It's a thought in their mind when they say, you know what, I don't want Kevin Carr no more. That's why I said Kevin Carr. I go by Kevin Carr because Kevin Carr is the real person. I'm a real person. I'm a real entity, which is myself, right? William the Sons is another entity, which is another self, right? And I'm gonna hold that thought. I ain't gonna go there right now because that's too much.
You be wanting to
But
get it and going deep on it.
because when God sits you down, He talking to you, the individual person. When I got set down in prison, he was talking to the individual. You back? We back?
Yeah, he sat you down. He was talking to you.
Yeah, he sat me down. He was talking to me, and I talked back to him so much. I was like, "What you want me to do?"
Shush.
So I talked to God. I asked God questions. I asked him about people, cause what had happened was I had formed a lot of hatred in my heart growing up. A lot of hatred.
Wow.
So I don't really like talking to people. So I asked God, like, I'm gonna give you an example. My wife now, I asked him during this whole time that I'm going through this, I'm talking to him. So I said I want to go to school. I'm gonna be this. I had it all planned out what I wanted to be, what I thought. I thought I was gonna go to school for automotive. I thought I was gonna be a mechanic. I thought I was gonna be able to teach my kids this. Nah.
That's not exactly what God.
See, God got something different. See, He knows your heart. He knows your heart. See, in my heart, my backup plan from being a pro football player was I always was admired by an accountant. School, in the hood, hustling. School, an accountant. I was enthused by counting somebody else's money and telling them, you know what, you can't afford that Bentley. You can't afford that house. You're really living above your means. You know that, right?
Oh,
Tiffany, like I can sit back and see if they were living too large. You know what I mean? So let me count them dollars right there. Hold on, let me count them pennies. Because people like to leave pennies at the cash register, right? But an accountant, right? If I leave them pennies at the cash register, guess what? Everything I just did is wrong.
Oh Lord. And that's another gift that God has given you, to be that detail oriented. So
I didn't graduate. Hold on. I dropped out of high school in 11th grade. Never repeated the grade until I got caught in school with some drugs. So I dropped out because I couldn't play football no more. I was disappointed in the fact that I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So I don't want to go to school. Now I'm really gonna sell drugs. Now my granddad was dying. Now I'm really gonna go all the way in. Now I ain't even about to play with. I'm about to go all. I'm like 15, 16 years old. I look so innocent. You don't think I'm selling drugs the way I'm selling drugs.
Right.
I'm selling drugs like I'm selling drugs. I'm selling drugs. That's what I'm doing. And
wow.
Anybody that come from that lifestyle know that ain't no lifestyle that you glorify. Because that's a survival mode. And then it become an addiction. Just told you how powerful addiction was.
Yeah.
So the mind is always thinking about why. Well, I always wondered why. I thought my mom was never gonna stop smoking crack growing up. My son about to be 15. My mom ain't been smoking in 15 years.
Thank you,
So
God. Won't he do it?
something that I thought I never was gonna see, I see now.
Thank you,
But
Lord.
what I'm going back to that is the power of addiction. I was more addicted to selling drugs than she was addicted to using drugs.
Mm.
Now, who problem is worse?
Mm.
That's how bad and if you indulge in things, it can become it can
Mm.
become an addiction. I don't care, food,
You
whatever.
talk
You get
right.
what I'm saying? So you got to find your peace.
Mm.
And when he set me down, and we always had conversation throughout my years out there selling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I always felt the need to go to church. I always felt the need to pray. I always pray. I pray every day. I
Mm.
never lost. So the first thing, like I told my wife the other day when we went to the mount, I said the first thing why people need to repent daily is because you know why?
Mm.
Even myself, we all judge people. That's the first sin. He said, judge not.
Unless you be judged. That's Bible.
Judge not.
That's Bible.
Sometimes we see people like, you know what? He ain't got no business doing that. You don't know what that person going through, why they doing that.
That the scripture says,
You don't know what God got
the
them going through.
take the beam out your eye before you try to take the log
Yeah,
out. Listen, you can't even really see. No, take the log out of your eyes before you try to take the beam out of theirs. Like you can't even see clearly. Allow God to deal with you and what you
right,
got going on. Okay, don't worry about
right.
everybody else.
Don't try
Let God work in you.
because he because everything that I went through was used for my better good. He gave me everything
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted and showed me why I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I always get what I want from God.
Mm.
He said he'll give you your heart's desires.
Yeah, if you delight
I
in Him, He will
prefer.
give you the desires of your
I love
heart.
King Solomon. I love King Solomon.
Okay.
King Solomon tell you. King Solomon can tell you about all of it. King Solomon can tell you about the riches. King
Mm-hmm.
Solomon can tell you about the women. King
Mm-hmm.
Solomon can tell you about doing business with people you ain't got no business doing business. He tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You
The
get what I'm
Proverbs.
saying? And then,
Yep.
but before you get to him, you got to go back to his daddy though. You got to go back to King David.
Mm-hmm.
It teach you a lot. So, and during my time, in incarceration, That's what I was reading. I
The
didn't read
word.
a book. I didn't read the books that the lifestyle I was living. Why am I read that book for and I lived that lifestyle? I was
And
living
it
that
got you
lifestyle for real. No, I won't faking it. I was for real with it. I was a real G out there. Like I
there.
want
Mm.
nothing fake about me out there. So why would I read a book about my life? No, I need to write another book. And
A life-giving book. That's what I'm talking about.
so I studied though. I was in tune. And when you give him time, he give you time back. So one day I just fell asleep one day, and I seen this paint company, and I seen people working for me.
Y'all
And
listen
I
to this.
wake up. I wake up in the middle of the dream. I'm on like the third rack, the highest rack you can get on. And I wake up, and he said, "You gonna own a paint company?" I said, "Nah, I ain't gonna own a paint company." I'm talking to the Lord. Y'all, I'm in. If y'all would have seen me have a conversation with the Lord, y'all would swear I was crazy. I swear you would think I was crazy.
This
Sitting
is
on my
good.
bed
This is
in the
good.
cell by myself and have a whole dream of me being in the free world, running a paint company and got everybody working for me.
Can't
So
stop,
I
won't stop.
sat up on that bed. I sat up on that bed confused for a second. I said, "Oh man, hold on." I said, "Lord, stop! Come on, man, you playing?" He said, "Nah, I'm for real." I said, "Nah."
Yeah.
I'm talking back. I said, "Nah." I don't even like. I don't even like him. You know I don't like him. He said he gonna work for you. I said, "Man, he ain't gonna work for me." Hey, hey, y'all! I was released. Go check me out. Kevin Dante Carr. Go check me out. You go look me up on
Listen.
Facebook, Instagram, the Federal Bureau of Penitentiary. I don't care where you go look my name up, I'm gonna pop up. But what I'm giving y'all this information is because it's gonna show you that I was released 10/29/2012. So I was released. Couldn't believe it. Cried and everything. I don't know why I could release about 5:30 now. Anybody ever been in a federal penitentiary. No, you don't get released at no 5:30 nothing in no PM. You're not leaving. But that I was told that if I don't get out the premises at this time, that it's gonna be a fine per hour that I'm still stuck at that prison. How long, y'all? Can't nobody do that but God, right? So I was stuck.
Okay.
So as I was stuck, so I go out. My first job coming back home was McDonald's, and I applaud McDonald's because, you know, they gave me the opportunity, you know, and I use that as a stepping stone.
Yes.
So as I'm working at McDonald's, I can just hear my granddad talking to me. And all my granddad wanted me to do growing up, because he always gave me the opportunity to make my own decisions and do what I want, because he said one day he wasn't going to be here. But throughout all my decision making and doing what I wanted to do, it was only one requirement, well, two. Well, it was getting the education and going to church. So I could recall a conversation that we had right before he passed, and he was telling me, he said, "Kevin, you smart." He said, "If you just go to school. This is what he tell me now. Tiffany, this is what he tell me. He said, if you go to school, he said, you better take care of your mama and all your sisters and anybody you want to take care of." So I'm sitting there with that attitude again, that same attitude. You know how I used to get, sitting there with that attitude. I'm like, I ain't trying, I'm gonna sell some drugs. I'm gonna sell crack, you know, because we stayed in the hood. We were booming. My hood was booming. I don't know about your hood. You ain't want from my hood. I don't know. But my hood was jumping, you know what I mean? So them guys had everything. Them guys had everything that you would think that you would want. But my granddad always talked to me as we go to church. Every time he would say, "Kevin," he said, "that's a dead end road." He said, they ain't gonna have nothing to fall back on. And you know, as a kid, always being up under him, he always having me, he always been around all the older men. I never hung with y'all. You know that, right? I never hung with I always hung with them. And hearing what he was telling me, you know, I'm like, man, I'm sitting here working at man. I said, you know what, I'm going to school.
Wow.
And that was life changing. That was very life changing for me, because the smart as I am, just telling you now, in prison, I had the chance to learn business from an African. His name was Mr. Obigu. And by me not passing judgment and stuff like that and allowing God to use me, I had more white friends teaching me accounting than anybody can think. I was outspoken. So I ended up getting a job at the I'm 20 now, mind you, now I'm 22, 23 years old in the federal penitentiary. In the system, young boy. I'm in a psychology department, and I have a discussion with one of the psychologists. Her name was Dr. Dominique. And we having a conversation. She said, "Kevin, you don't supposed to be here."
Woo!
She said, you're too smart. And after having a conversation with her, I was elected to be, I think I was the youngest person on the board of prison culture, talking to the inmates.
Now you sound like
about the trend. I was telling them about making a transition out, because I'm dealing with guys that's been doing 10, 15, 20 years. We're talking about, I'm around people that got life in prison. I'm around people that got a sexual charge that got 60, 65 years. They in my group. I got Black people, Asian, Indians, Chinese. I got all diverse. It's diverse in this board, like, and everything confidential. So I'm like, how did I get this job? How did I get this job at the psychology department, on the board, on like doing massive, like I was, but I was only being myself though.
Wow.
And I only told them, and I was sharing my experience. I was just letting them know, if y'all guys come home, whatever block that y'all had control of, or whatever you think that you got, don't go home with that mentality approaching a young guy like myself. Because we had my mentality, at that age at 20, 19, 20, 21, 20, I ain't mind going through 10, 15 years for killing you. I ain't mind going. I'll go lay that down with easy. Just let you know I
Mm.
ain't playing with you. Just so you know that. And I had to explain it to these guys to let these guys know, like, you know what, you don't really want to go home dealing with these guys. Like, you really don't want to, you don't even really want to, you don't even want to give them that itch. Because they already walk around with a chip on their shoulder and feeling like they got something to prove because they're in some type of game, some type of organization. They feel like they got something to prove. So, which I had to learn. I had to learn a lot. I had to learn the only thing I got to prove is prove it to myself. See, the best defeatment that I had was the only way they can beat me is either I'm incarcerated or I'm dead. Other than that, if I'm home, if I'm out, you can't outthink me. You can't outbeat me. You know why? Because I count pennies. Them same pennies you throw away, I pick them up. That
Wow.
same Bible you let blow, that same Bible you let collect dust, I open up and read it. Not
Yes.
just sometimes, all the time. I don't pray
Wow.
just one time. I pray daily. I don't just talk to him sometimes. I talk to him all the time.
Relentless in your pursuit of
And you
God.
know what? I'm being myself because a lot of people try to change for somebody. I ain't changed for nobody. I got to be me. When the time comes for me to change, let go certain things, I know how to do it. You
Wow.
know, it just, I told you, people judge. You know, sometimes people will never get this conversation from me because they'll judge me off the rip. I love it though. But if you give me the
But
opportunity, I share it with you.
no, this is why I believe God wanted you to come on here, because I'm telling you, have been through so much and you're just such an inspiration. The fact that God gave you this vision to start your business while you were in prison, and the fact that you had this type of Moses back and forth with him, like, nah, God, I'm good. And he's like,
Nah,
oh,
I really had to talk. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. We had to
I,
talk.
I
Like
believe you. I believe
I
you.
didn't think that. I thought he was joking. I thought he was lying. Let's be real. Let's be real. I
Like,
thought he was lying.
no way.
But God can't lie though. He can't lie. See, one thing about God, that's why I love him though. Because you know why I love him though? Because everybody has lied to me in life. One thing I realized after my granddad passed, after all that turmoil and hell I caused him, and not listening to things like that, I realized that he never lied to me too. But he kept it in small baby terms as a young man to me becoming a man. But everything
Yeah.
that he taught me, it showed developed me to be a man. I don't know how to be nothing else but a man because I was grown by a man. I can't be nothing else but a man. That's
That's a
why I can
blessing.
take care of my family.
Yes,
I
sir.
feel like he was a sacrifice. He was my sacrifice for me to be a real man. A man that in our time, Tiffany, that we don't see no more. A man that's buried in history. A man that they don't want to see no more. You know, a man that they want to talk about that. Not in this generation, they don't want to hear that. But God has last say so. See, they try to make so many wrong things right these days. Let's talk about that. So I know we might not get no play on Facebook like that because they try to keep the, you know what I mean?
Listen, I made a whole mistake on setting.
Got a community though they trying to protect. You know what I'm saying? So you got all. It's about the community. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I started to embrace the community of Facebook, the community of Instagram, the community of the live entertainment as a whole, because everything has changed. I just wanted to bring your the channel just how inspirational Nipsey was for the whole culture. And he had the real Moses ties. He was the real inspiration. And the way that he, to my terminology, after what I learned in prison. So imagine reading the manual or the blueprint, but you don't know how to apply it. See, Nipsey was my quarterback. I was the backup. See, God use things. I like music though. I like rap. See, somebody that judge me for listening to rap. They go to my page, they listen to my stories, they see my how I'm in my apartment. But that's my way of entertaining my people, my kind, because they listen to this type of music. So I got to gravitate them and let them know like I make money like this. This is how I'm getting it just the same way as he rapping it. I love rappers too because that's a gift.
It is.
Rappers, they telling you a story. They telling you the truth. Yeah, real bad. But for the most part, they poets though. They telling the story. And a lot of people ask me like, "Well, Kevin, what, you gonna write a book one day?" If you're gonna write something,
that's what I want to know.
I am writing. I'm writing a book.
Yes, sir.
But I didn't want to write. I didn't want to write a traditional book. What I want to this the book. What I want to write. I want you to listen to. I want everybody tuned in right now to understand. I have the skills and the know-how to write a book. I know how to use proper pronunciation. I know how to use my punctuations. I know how to do it all. But I don't, that's not what I want to write. I want to write a business plan from nothing. That's my book. Because that's so hard. Nobody know how to do all aspects of writing a business plan. And I'm really freestyling my business plan.
So before we end tonight, we want to know, how did you transition into your purpose now with business? And then just to hear you talk about wanting to write a book about business, like how did you get from that point where you're like, nah, God, I see the vision, but no, to actually owning your own painting company? That's how.
The transition came when I was found guilty of my federal crime because I pled guilty. You get what I'm saying? And they said I had to do 54 months, 3 years supervised probation. And like I told you early on, I said that I believe that God was going to help me beat that charge. Well, I only did 2 years and 4 months on that, and I gave them back 2 years, and I gave them back all the probation, and I came home scot-free. I beat my charge.
Wow! Thank God.
So the charge that I had pled guilty for is I'm not actually a felony on the federal level. So my charge got expunged. It's gone. It's not me. So
that's a word, but keep going.
So transitioning, I knew that couldn't nobody do that but God. That was the whole transition right there. That's the transition. That's the transition right there. 10/29/2012 was the transition.
So you just gave him your yes.
I couldn't stay in federal prison. They pushing me out.
He's like,
I can't stay here no more. I got to get out of here. I can't stay here no more. They tell me I can't stay. You can't stay here. You know, just imagine what story was it when he was in prison? All the walls just fell down. They were like, look, you know what? You got to go. You just got to go.
Yeah. Paul and Silas and
yeah. All right. There you go. When he was all right. I had to go. God, they would just push me out. So now. I worked at McDonald's. You remember I told you I worked at McDonald's? One day, I went in there and get a $43 check. It couldn't even pay my prepaid cell phone bill. So I hear this voice. So the voice say, so the voice say, that's all you can make in 1 week. It's $43. I said, no, I could do better than that. And I just like, from that day, I just walked out. And they like, and you know what? Because I don't know who took me off the schedule that week and gave me 2 days or 1 day, but I thank you, Lord, for whoever did that. They tried to be funny. Because I was the stock guy. I was the guy that ended up putting all the inventory in. Remember, I was in prison. I learned accounting from my white friends.
Listen.
I took the accounting job. I took the account. I took the inventory job. I was the stock boy. Guess what I was? I was the one to go there on 4 o'clock in the morning and unload the truck. I don't care if it's rain, snow, sleet, hail. I was there every other day. But I had kind of lazy managers, like I was telling you about football. Somebody standing beside me with all the talent, but they don't want to do it. So I asked them, so let me do it. And this is truth. I never made a mistake. And I didn't take the manager position for $9. I stayed at $7.25. They didn't let me put no more information inside the computer. The store, mind you not, the store never lacked. We never went without the food. We never not had cups, napkins, and all that. And guess who was really ordering it? Me. And I was demoted back to the grill. But the only thing I was doing was practicing my entrepreneurship skills and my accounting skills and all of that. So
it all works together.
That was my playground. That's how I started playing with my numbers. That's how I started keeping up with my inventory, to what I need to be ordering, how I need to keep up with myself. And I just adapted the system within myself, teaching myself a system, but staying firm to that system. Wow. And as I was let go from that position, put back on the grill, then from the grill, only getting one day, I just took that day, took the $40 check, and I never went back.
Oh my goodness! And now,
one thing people never understood was I was working at McDonald's and I was going to school for welding. But guess what? When I was going to school for welding, I started double major for welding and entrepreneurship.
I didn't know that.
Took an entrepreneurship class at the small business center for $75 on a weekend for like 12 weekends, just to get a kind of comprehension of understanding what I was about to be double majoring in at the community college. Well, fast learner that I am, I understood what it was about. And I thank this lady named Miss Shireen, because I had like 6 ideas. She said, you know what? That ain't gonna work. You got to come up with one solidified, solid business idea that's gonna work and that's gonna make money, and it's gonna make money for you and plenty of other people. So I sat down because I wanted to be a promoter. I want to throw parties. I want to do this. I want to do that.
But that won't the vision that God gave you.
You know what I'm saying? Still ain't said nothing about the paint. So I sat home. You know what? I'm gonna come up with this paint company, and I came up with Williams and Sons Paint Company because my dad introduced me. I was a son. I got twin little brothers, and I got another brother. So I thought there was gonna be the connection, but we had a disappointment in between our time. But the thing, and what I had to press through, and what God is good at, because this is some of the things that I kind of experienced in that dream, that I'm gonna have some disappointment and some letdown from people that I thought I wanted these people. I thought I needed these people, and everything that you kind of would want. And God allowed for me to see why this wasn't going to work my way.
Shush.
He allowed for me to go through and cry and hurt and a lot of things. But I can say today, for everybody that's in business, that has experienced COVID-19, that has touched everybody in business, the only person that can give me a restart button to the way that people try to do me in business is God. So with the economy starting all the way back over, I got a chance to relaunch my brand with a whole nother pace without having to have the damage done from what other people would do to you as a business owner.
Yes, sir.
And I had a chance to correct. And I got a chance to move forward. And I have a chance to be one of the best companies y'all here has yet to see worldwide, put it like that. Maybe even global.
Listen, and we just stand in agreement with you, Kevin, that as you continue to walk in obedience to God, as you position yourself to hear from Him, that He will give you the game plan, that He will give you the favor, that He would align everything up for you with the paperwork, with different people crossing your path. We stand in agreement with you that you haven't seen the best days yet for Williams and Sons. And I declare that God will continue to use you and your influence, not just for our generation, but for generations to come. In Jesus' name. Listen, Kevin, I am super grateful
Amen.
for you tonight. I want to say
Yes.
thank you
Yes.
for sharing your story of overcoming a lot of adversity. And here's the thing about it, God gets all the glory.
Amen. It ain't me, it's him, y'all. So I
Yes,
really like
sir.
I have to share my story because we have an agreement. And if I don't tell y'all guys what he has done for me, then the things that y'all may see me that I might have that I'm going to get and it's going to come, it's not going to happen if I don't give him the praise and glory to let y'all
Mhm.
know that without him, nothing is possible. Without him, nothing is possible. Now, with him, everything is
That's the Bible.
possible.
That's the Bible. Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Kevin,
Lord.
I'm gonna hit you up afterward, fam. Okay.
Okay. Talk to
But
you later, okay?
all right, thank you so much. Listen, y'all. Listen, my cousin Kevin has been through so much, and he went into some details for us on tonight. And I don't know about you, but I'm encouraged. The fact that he overcame things in his childhood, you know, he thought one way it was gonna go one way with athletics. God's like, nah. He thought it was gonna go another way with husbands. God's like, no. He thought it was gonna go another way, trying to be a party promoter. God's like, no. And even through all that, God was preparing him. And I don't know what your specific story is, how God has arranged things in your life, and that you were wondering, like, God, why? Why did this happen to me? Why? Why? And maybe he's giving you a vision. Maybe he's shown you the game plan, but you're refusing to run the play. So my encouragement to you is to run the play and allow God to just continue to minister to you and speak to you as we press into a song right now. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. I am. Thank y'all so much for hanging out on Facebook. I made a big mistake earlier, setting everything up, but I'm glad y'all decided to hang out too.
Now I'm ready for whatever you want to do. I'm moving forward to follow after you. And now I'm ready for whatever you want to do. Come on, tell them you're ready for whatever. Yes, I'm ready for whatever you want to do. Hey, your presence is an open door. We want you, Lord, like never before. Hey, your presence is an open door. So come now, Lord, like never before.
Love you in this way. Help us to run the play. Help us not to give up in opposition and adversity. Help us not to stand in your way for what you want to do for us.
Anybody believe in that tonight? The cross before me, my hope on things above. And in you, Jesus, the best is yet to come. Your presence is an open door. We want you, Lord, like never before. Tonight, your presence, come on, is an open door. So come now, Lord. So come now, Lord, like never before. Oh, I feel like we're gonna throw those breakthroughs in the way. Breakthroughs coming to your house tonight. like you mean it, like you know it's true. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I'll see a miracle. My God made me a promise and it won't stop now. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I'll see a miracle. My God made me a promise and it won't stop now.
And so for those of you feeling stuck, for those of you feeling as though this is the end, for those of you feeling as though things can't get better, I agree with you that breakthrough is here. Breakthrough is your portion. That whatever might have happened before, that's not the final. That's not the end. God's not through with you yet. And so if you can press in to Him, to His presence, if you can position yourself to hear from Him, He will give you the grace to endure it all. So Father, we thank you for time in your presence tonight. We thank you for Kevin, your son Kevin, and his family. Continue to bless them richly and use him for your glory. Father, I thank you for every sincere seeker. God, that you are moving in us to walk in our divine purpose, no matter what comes against us. We thank you, God, if you are for us, who can be against us? And God, we thank you even now that we would position and posture ourselves to hear from you more clearly, to get the strategy, that we won't offer you resistance when you do give us the game plan, that we won't offer you resistance when you do show us, when you give us the vision. God, that we will run with it, yes, Lord, that we would run with the vision, that we would trust you for the grace, we would receive your grace to run every single play that you have called for us to run. And we declare that you would get the glory in Jesus' mighty name. Family, thank you again so much for joining us tonight. If it be the Lord's will, we will be back next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and 6 p.m. Pacific Time. And also be sure that you are saving the date for Monday, April the 5th. We are having a digital revival. My brother is coming back to join us and to lead us in a time of sincerely seeking God through worship, through praise, through prayer, through prophecy. You want to be a part of it. Monday, April the 5th. You want to be a part. Be sure to invite someone. We are going to press into the presence of God at 8 p.m. Central on Monday, April the 5th. Listen, until next time, you know exactly what to do. Keep on sincerely seeking God. And I love y'all so, so much.